who came that close, so close to being the next governor. And you really surged at the end. Boy, the fever was out there. I mean, I was telling people, I don't know how this is going to turn out, but people are fired up to vote for John Robitaille. You really captured it at the end.
Yeah, John, we, like I said, we stayed positive, and we had an awesome team of volunteers. We had a great ground game. You know, it was under the radar, which was what our plan was. We were making calls. In fact, the night of the PPAC debate, I think that was the Channel 12 debate.
Yes.
Chafee had hundreds of people out there, teachers holding placards, and the Teamsters were out there supporting Frank and yelling. And somebody asked me, "Where are your supporters?" I said, "Well, they're back at campaign headquarters making phone calls," and they were. They were. We had a very good get out the vote effort. It was under the radar, but it was very intense. We had a very sophisticated database culling out folks who we needed to target. It was a very focused campaign, and it was very effective. If we had maybe another couple of $100,000 earlier on and maybe 2 more weeks, we probably would have pulled this off in spite of the dynamics of this four-way race.
The final debate on Channel 10, was Bill Rapley fair to John Robitaille?
He sort of came at me, caught me by surprise, almost accusing me of this executive order and
because you guys had a history there.
Yeah, we had a little bit of history,
it
but
was little bad blood. It was somewhat undercover, but he also started the final question with Link Chafee on as far as he verified, but then he turned it on to you.
Yeah. It was, John, I was ready for anything that night because I knew at that point the polls had shifted, and I was expecting.
You're ready for the candidates. I don't know if you're ready for the fifth candidate, the moderator.
Well,
but I wanted to ask you, as someone who was there, do you think he showed a little animosity that night?
I did not. I was ready for it, but a lot of people came up to me afterwards and said, "What was that all about?" I'm fine with Bill. I'm fine with Bill. I respect him.
I thought he did a good job of debate, except for that.
I'm fine with Bill. I have
what
no
about
issues.
Frank Caprio saying he gets hyper when he lies?
Yeah, that set me off because I was not going to come at him, but I couldn't help myself coming back at him with I'm not the one who told the President of the United States to shove it. I scored big on that one, I'm told, but. No, I think again it was desperation. I think Frank knew at that point that he was going to end up in third place.
When NBC 10 had in the corner the people meters, every time you said anything, they went through the roof. People were responding to your message, but they were also responding to Ken Block.
Yes, and again, John, that's what happened at the end. We sort of underestimated Ken's ability to pull the undecided votes that we needed to get across the goal line. And so, Ken did well. He did well in the debates, and his message got out there. Unfortunately, it got out there a little too well and pulled some votes, especially the undecideds at the end. Because, as you know, a few days out, there was still 11-12% undecided, which was huge.
Yep.
And we were both courting the undecided and unaffiliated voters at the end. So, his 22,000 votes, if I had gotten half of those, we would have won.
Let me squeeze in a phone call. Kim from Providence is on WPRO with Republican John Robitaille. Good morning, Kim.
Hi.
Go right ahead.
I just think it's too bad for the people of Rhode Island that Mr. Robitaille and Frank Caprio couldn't have come to an understanding that one of them, either one, would have dropped out because we wouldn't have Chafee today as the governor. And as you know, the majority didn't want him as governor. I just think that,
it's going to be tough to govern. John, they apparently first approached you, and then Gio sent out a press release asking him to drop out.
Yeah. Well, anyone who gets the signatures and who has the real desire to run can run, and that's just the way it is. In some states, however, they do have runoff elections.
I like the runoff. Just because we're getting people who, whether it be Bob Venerini or the moderate party candidates, Chris Little got 12% or whatever, or Ken Block with 6.
Yeah. Well, I think Doreen
Costa, they're not
Costa
running to win; they're really running to spoil.
Doreen Costa has already said she's going to put legislation together introducing a runoff.
Great, and that's pretty amazing. That it was. Do you remember where you were 50 years ago when JFK? Was elected?
I do. I was just a kid. I won't tell you how old I was.
I was in God's pocket. So I have a question. Go right ahead.
No, I was going to say that different kind of Democrat back then, though. I mean, JFK was really fiscally conservative, strong on defense, different kind.
I also want to mention, folks, you can now look in. You can see John Robitaille. We have our in-studio cameras at WPRO. All you have to do is go to our website, 630wpro.com, and it brings you right inside our studio. I have a question for you. Can you talk a little bit more about your plans in meeting with Catherine Taylor and John Laughlin?
great candidates, Eric Wallen as well. Yes, we're going to get together soon. In fact, I'm getting together with Eric on Saturday. We really do need to do a lessons learned from this campaign cycle. And listen, just because a lot of us who hoped we would have been elected were not, does not mean that we're not going to continue to stay focused on a message. Look, I am concerned about Rhode Island. We need jobs. Raising taxes is not the way to bring jobs. I'm really concerned that the advancements that Commissioner Gist and Governor Carcieri made on education reform is going to be thwarted. We need pension reform. We need to take a look at EDC to help reorganize them, deploy more resources to get jobs in here. And I haven't heard anything coming out of Governor-elect Chafee that says in any way he's going to support any of those initiatives. So I'm really concerned about it, and people cannot give up. People need to stay focused on reforming this state. And if that means being on the phone, being on their emails to make sure that the newly elected representatives and senators in going to be up there in the General Assembly hear loud and clear that we don't want to go down this road any longer, that we need a new direction for Rhode Island.
What was it like when you talked to him election night?
Well, it was very noisy, very, very noisy. And I had a difficulty getting in touch with Link prior to my concession speech. We had 2 phone numbers, and neither of them were being picked up. So, I did speak with him afterwards. It was very cordial. I wished him luck. But I hope he holds true to his promise to bring people together. And I guess it'll be telling to see who he appoints on his staff and who he either keeps as department directors or appoints as department directors. So we'll see. We'll see if he does try to bring people together, and I hope that includes folks that are fiscally conservative. The
last few days and last week of the campaign, he turned his sights on you, especially right here. We had you the Thursday before the election, the 4 of you. He, at that point, was almost ignoring Frank Caprio. All his attacks were on John Robitaille. What was your feeling on that?
Well, I knew that was going to happen. We were polling, they were polling, and it showed that Frank was losing ground. I was gaining votes really significantly. And it was going to end up being a 2-person race, but it wasn't going to be Caprio and Chafee. It was going to be Robitaille and Chafee. We knew that 3 weeks out. And he knew it too. When you're running, when the attack ads start coming out, I mean, Frank sent out 2 very negative attack ad mailers attacking me.
That's right.
And then the spot started ratcheting up the rhetoric, and I became the target. So we knew at that point, what they knew was that the Robitaille campaign was getting traction, and then it was going to be close, real close.
Ryan in Providence is on WPRO with Republican John Robitaille. Go right ahead, Ryan.
Good morning, gentlemen. I just wanted to give a quick call in. I was thinking about heading to the Pell Bridge Wednesday morning after seeing all of these results come in. And after I talked to Mr. Laughlin on Tuesday night, I just want to recommend everybody to keep their optimism open. Working with Mr. Robitaille and Brian Bongiovanni and Chris McAuliffe, he had a really class group, and all of your efforts are not going to go unfounded. There's a little bit of an insurgency building in Rhode Island with the young Republicans. We did a great effort, and we learned a lot from working with these guys. So I just wanted to call in and say thanks for the opportunity to learn. We had a great software system that was out there, and we all are going to use this voter data in future elections. So I just want to say thanks to Mr. Robitaille.
Thank you, Ryan.
And everybody else that ran. You guys give us a lot of experience. It's going to go into good use in the future of trying to save this little state.
Well, I don't want to sound cliche, Ryan, but you guys are the future, and we need the young Republicans to really step up to the plate and be a part of this party going forward.
Where do you think the Caprio campaign went off the track?
I think from the get-go, the campaign design was really faulty. You have to stand firm on one side or the other, and I think the Caprio campaign tried to be all things to all people rather than really solidifying the base in the Democrat Party, staying on message. But
had money.
Yeah, they had the money.
Lynch didn't even go against him in a primary.
Right.
He was polling well. Yeah. Every poll for a while in the summertime, they were going up.
Yeah, and Frank tried to pull right. He thought it would be easier to pull the conservative vote. I think he underestimated our campaign. And then it was too late to go back because Link had already had the progressives on his side. So he found himself kind of a candidate without a cause, and that was his demise.
I think also, in getting to know him, and I've known Frank Caprio. He went to Hendrick, and I went to. He tends to be more fiscally conservative,
yes.
And I think he was more of himself. If you had to pick one of the two, he's not a liberal individual the way Link Chafee
No,
is.
but I think what a lot of people saw, what I saw, because I got up close and personal with Frank, in all these 30 debates that we had.
God.
And there were days when you saw the real Frank Caprio, the guy that was at ease with himself. He was comfortable, nice guy. I think whoever was coaching him had him too structured, too on message, he was too concerned a lot about saying the right thing at the right time, and I don't think that authenticity came out. And he's a nice guy. He should have been more of himself, and so people could know where he was centered.
What do you think is going to happen, John Robitaille? I mean, I was telling this to someone yesterday. I mean, Governor-elect Link Chafee, he's a very liberal individual.
Yes.
The Speaker of the House is Gordon Fox. The two of them are as liberal as you can be. Yet when you look at a map of the state, Robitaille, it is a red state. Rhode Island is actually very provincial. We are lean Democrat, but it's Union Democrat. It's kind of conservative Democrat. Yeah. I cannot see where if their two agendas, they may agree, but I don't get the sense that everybody else out here agrees.
No, you're right. It really is. It's all Providence centric. All of the power, all of those votes. I mean, and even in some of the other communities that I did lose in the suburbs, I lost them. I lost Warren by 29 votes. I lost Little Compton by only 70 votes. So the vast majority of the communities I did win, but I got trounced pretty heavily in Providence and
the union certainly helped him. Warwick Cranston, former Mayor Warwick, Warwick is a key element to win. Warwick Cranston can decide a lot.
But Cranston, and
you hold no ill will towards Avedisian.
No,
if that Warwick mayor had said on with Robitaille, that could have been a different story.
Well,
I know they go back.
Yeah,
he was right from the beginning. Said I've been with the Chafees my whole life, but. Wouldn't have hurt.
No, in Cranston, Mayor Fung supported me, and right down to the wire, I only lost Cranston by 600 votes.
So close.
Yeah.